Folks, we're going to get started, and we can start with introductions. My name is Anika Renee. I'm the Local Health Improvement Coordinator for the Healthy St. Mary's Partnership at the St. Mary's County Health Department. Nat, do you want to introduce yourself next?
I'm Nat Scroggins with the Minority Outreach Coalition and co-chair of the Healthy St. Mary's Partnership.
Thank you, sir. And Miss Annette?
Annette Lawrence of St. Mary's County Health Department.
Thank you. Sarah?
Good evening, Sarah Winter-Colby with the St. Mary's County Health Department, and I'm part of the Behavioral Health Division.
Thank you for being here. Rebecca?
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I work at St. Mary's Health Department.
Thank you for coming. And let's see, Taylor?
Hey everybody, my name is Taylor Spencer Davis. I am the co-chair with Michelle of the Violence, Injury, and Trauma Action Meeting team here. And I think Michelle couldn't be here tonight. And I'm also the deputy director at the Southern Maryland Center for Family Advocacy and the co-chair of the Family Violence Coordinating Council for the county. It's great to see everybody. Thank you for making the time, especially so late in the evening. So yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor. And before we introduce our partner spotlight, I want to say, 1, your hair looks great. 2, I want to connect you with Rebecca and Annette because they'll be doing outreach at the courthouse, I believe, soon.
Yes, we are doing that on Thursday.
Okay, awesome. All righty. So last but certainly not least, I would like to welcome Miss Annie Carter. If you would like to unmute yourself and introduce yourself, please feel free.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Annie Carver. It's great to see some of you all again and meet more of you. I am from the Legal Resource Center for Public Health Policy in Baltimore and work in St. Mary's.
All right. Can everyone see the presentation? Cool. I see thumbs up. And welcome, Barbara and Lisa. I'll sign you both in. Please feel free to get started, Annie.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So I am doing a partner spotlight tonight. And again, I just want to thank Anika and the rest of the team for letting me present so much this week. It's been really great. So I am just going to give some background on a new center called the Legal Resource Center for Public Health Policy, and specifically its cannabis team. This is something that just started this year, the cannabis team at least, just started this year in 2024, and it's a new service for the public health community in Maryland. So just want to make sure you all know that we're here as a resource. So next slide. All right, so the Legal Resource Center for Public Health Policy was started at the University of Maryland School of Law in 2001 with the purpose of providing legal technical assistance regarding tobacco law post all the changes to tobacco law in the 90s and 2000s. But our new cannabis team, which is myself, 2 other attorneys, and a program coordinator, all started in January of 2024. And our mission is to help Maryland's public health community, so that is everyone on this call, understand and respond to the challenges of cannabis legalization. Our main clients are local health departments, regulatory agencies, community groups, legislators, and residents, as long as they're in Maryland. And we are funded by the Cannabis Public Health Fund through MDH, so we work very closely with MDH. And for any of you who may be familiar with the Legal Resource Center and their tobacco team, we provide the same quality services that that team provides. Okay, next slide. Okay, so what are those quality services? The first thing that we did upon starting the center was conduct a cannabis community needs assessment. And that community needs assessment really looked at what the current public health issues that the 24 counties in Maryland were experiencing and the challenges they are having in addressing those issues. I'm going to talk specifically about the St. Mary's results just after this slide. But then, and I'm super excited I get to share that with you guys because we just finished this. The other services we provide are legal technical assistance. So while we can't provide legal advice, we can research and educate on certain issues relating to cannabis legalization. And so an example of one is whether Maryland law permits medical cannabis in schools, and if it does, what are the rules regarding the administration of medical cannabis in schools? And so while we couldn't necessarily say, yes, you specifically can use medical cannabis at school and here's how you can do it, we can help someone understand what the law says and the parameters built into that law. We also create a lot of educational resources. We create fact sheets and issue briefs. For instance, some fact sheets that we are developing right now are just a very general Cannabis 101, what does the law say, resource, as well as one on cannabis versus hemp, medical cannabis in schools. We also conduct webinars on a quarterly basis. We had a kind of speed run of webinars over the last few months, but those were on just generally what the LRC is, kind of a much longer presentation of this, and then on cannabis consumption sites. So we try to help focus on big issues that are happening in the world of cannabis in Maryland. The other big things that we do are meetings and presentations. We'll be hosting a cannabis conference in 2025, specifically for the public health community. And then we also do legislative tracking and legislative and regulatory advocacy. So from January to April, we are, for me, down in Annapolis, tracking the legislation that is before the General Assembly, and where necessary, providing testimony and education for legislators so that as they try to tackle these big public health issues regarding cannabis legalization, they do it knowing the science and what the best public health approach is. Next slide. All right, so the community needs assessment results. The way that this community needs assessment worked was in April, we sent it out to the local health departments throughout the state, and the focus of it were the concerns and the challenges associated with cannabis legalization that the counties were experiencing. And so that first part of the assessment really focused on what are the counties concerned about. And so it was multiple choice questions with a list of 15 public health issues associated with cannabis legalization. And I've included on this slide the issues that St. Mary's County Health Department indicated that it was very concerned about. I want to pull out for this group specifically the mental health issues related to cannabis consumption, just because I feel as though that's particularly relevant to this group. As far as the biggest public health concerns reported, and this was in the open-ended part of the assessment, the department reported youth marketing, access, and use as being part of the biggest public health concerns, as well as cannabis use disorder and cannabis use in multi-unit housing. Additionally, it reported that some current public health issues it was facing were zoning issues related to growers and manufacturers. Particularly, it seemed as though there was some environmental runoff coming from these businesses. And then it reported it's currently implementing efforts to increase access. I know, Anika, that was a surprise to me. That was the first time I had heard that. But it was trying to increase access to substance use treatment services and seeking funding from the state for cannabis prevention efforts similar to its tobacco prevention efforts. And then the greatest challenges it indicated, it might come as no surprise to any of you, but lack of sufficient funding to get these programs off of the ground, that lowered risk perception of cannabis, which kind of naturally comes with legalization, and a lack of research on the risks associated with cannabis use. Next slide. So I included these slides regarding legislation largely for your all's reference to see what was of interest to us this past legislative session, and so that you can get an idea of the kind of issues we focus in on. So for this Cannabis Reform Act alterations, we were really concerned about the advertising provisions in it. Next slide. And then this one, there are provisions regarding zoning of these cannabis dispensaries. So just making sure that those are well informed. Next slide. This was kind of our big one this last year. Another advertising one, but just making sure that the current state standard of prohibiting outdoor advertising of cannabis and cannabis products, other than a sign placed on the outside of the cannabis business, is prohibited, because there is a lot of research showing that even advertisements, even located far away from a school, a treatment facility, any of these places, increases youth use sevenfold. So we advocated against this one, and it received an unfavorable vote in the Senate Finance Committee. And then next slide, I think we can just kind of skip through, but I included this all for your reference. Okay, so next slide. The other one that I felt was particularly pertinent to you guys was this HB 390, which was regarding the use of cannabis odor as evidence in a trial. So currently, state law says that law enforcement officers cannot initiate a stop or search of a motor vehicle based solely on the odor of burnt or unburnt cannabis. And so currently, they can't use this in any way. It's inadmissible as evidence in court. And HB 390 would have repealed this state standard, so it would have made it so police officers could use this as evidence. And I wanted to point this out because this is one that, is balancing a lot. So of course we want the roadways to be safe. We don't want there to be an increase of accident. And I don't know about you guys, but I already am a little scared driving around in Maryland. So I understand where this is coming from. But on the other hand, there are concerns about the fact that even if you haven't used cannabis recently, this odor can linger, so it doesn't necessarily indicate that someone has used cannabis and is impaired. There are other ways to determine that someone is impaired from cannabis. And what people are really concerned about from a social justice point is that this can be used as a pretext for searching someone's car. And I want to make it clear I'll have time for questions at the end of the presentation. So let's go to the next slide. The other big thing we have done recently is we submitted public comments regarding the Maryland Cannabis Administration proposed permanent regulations. And we specifically focused on public health concerns that we had with how the proposed regulations were written. We were, I think, the only group that was not an industry group. So that was very interesting. But we made comments about this laundry list of things in the regulations, and I just wanted to particularly pull out that we made a comment about pregnancy and breastfeeding product warnings, just because in the state right now, they are pretty unclear about the fact that you yourself as the pregnant person can have side effects associated with COVID and health effects oh my gosh, COVID, sorry, that was a slip of the tongue, with cannabis use, but it is also potentially harmful to the child. Okay, next slide. Another thing I wanted to pull out for you guys as the violence, injury, and trauma team is the issue of cannabis consumption lounges. So cannabis consumption lounges are very similar to bars in that they are a social venue for people to consume cannabis in public. And in 2023, the Cannabis Reform Act authorized the Maryland Cannabis Administration to license on-site consumption establishments starting May of 2024. That has not started happening yet because in their recently published report on on-site cannabis consumption lounges. They explored a lot of different viable business models and came to the determination that in order for this to be a viable business, there needs to be some changes to Maryland state law. And so while they could technically start licensing right now, most likely what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot of debate this legislative session about which model to pursue. And then the team, the legislator will decide, and then based on what the legislator decides, they will start licensing. And the reason I wanted to call this out for you all is because one of the big public health concerns with cannabis consumption lounges is the use of edibles in these consumption lounges, not because that by itself is bad, but with the delayed effects of impairment with edibles, there's concern about an increase in impaired driving and people really not knowing that they are driving while impaired. The other big thing about these cannabis consumption lounges is this is pretty much one of the only areas where the local government has say about whether or not they will allow this business or not. So St. Mary's County, if it decided to, could completely prohibit these businesses from being licensed in the county. Okay, next slide. So looking forward, what are some big things that are coming down the pike? So right now, the federal government is considering rescheduling cannabis from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 drug. That is something we are watching. I feel pretty confident that will be tied up in lawsuits for quite some time, but it is something we're watching to see just when that comes. This won't have a great effect on how cannabis is treated between the federal and state level, other than the fact that it will allow for more research into cannabis and its health effects, which is pretty exciting. And additionally, our team going forward, we will be giving more presentations and trainings on various public health and cannabis legalization topics. So while we have canned presentations, we also, anytime there is an issue or topic an organization is interested in, we can give that presentation. And additionally, we are always preparing for the next legislative session. So that's the other big thing. The next slide is some resources for you all. Right now, we do not have a website because we are just that new. But if you are interested in getting on our LRC-Cannabis listserv for announcements regarding trainings, webinars, and fact sheets, please feel free to email me. And my email is on the last slide, and I can have our program coordinator add you. So I know I just crammed a bunch of information and spoke very quickly. So does anybody have any questions on anything I just said?
I actually do from the last time. In terms of public needs assessments and focus groups, do you find that people are more willing to answer if it's anonymous, or is there not really a correlation at this point?
I haven't noticed too much of a correlation. I don't know what research out there says. With our community needs assessment, it was also specifically, we were going about it with the point of seeing what the specific county's needs were. And so it was really important to know which county was answering. So there was no way for us to really make it anonymous, though there were plenty of health officers who did not give us their contact information. So they made it anonymous in any way they could.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. And my other question, I remember a couple of months ago at the Maryland Cannabis Coalition, I think they were talking about how each county has the ability to decide and alter the space from, like, if we want, something further away from schools than current legislation allows, we can do that. Can you talk a little more about that?
Yeah, and so that's actually in one of the bills I included. The zoning one I skimmed over, but the bill itself kept the state standard and then made it so that counties could not make the exclusionary zone, which I believe is 500 feet, greater. So it actually could not go to a greater exclusionary zone. So say 1,000 feet from a school, whereas you can make it a smaller exclusionary zone, so 300 feet. I will say this was effective July 1st. So if you met about a few months ago, that could have still been true.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that information and explanation. I'm sorry for the slides lagging. My mouse died as soon as we started.
Totally fine.
All right. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, yeah.
Does anyone else have any other questions? All righty. Well,
No
Annie,
questions, but I just wanted to thank Annie for her presentation.
Oh, thank you. And thank you all. I know a few of you have already heard me talk, so thank you for that. And yeah, if you have think of any other questions later, my email is here, so don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.
absolutely. And please feel free to reach out to us with any needs assessment questions or upcoming presentations. We're happy to continue to work with you all.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate you doing 2 different types of slides for each meeting. That is very appreciated. All right. If no one else has any other questions, we're going to move right on to partner updates. Please feel free to unmute yourself, but just say who you are, since I can't see you at this moment, and share your update.
Hey, it's Taylor. I just wanted, from the Center for Family Advocacy side, I wanted to let everybody know we're hiring for a case manager and for a staff accountant. So if you know anybody interested in those positions, it's obviously a great place to work. That's all I've got. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Taylor. And I know that Barbara, I have the update for the Homeless Prevention Board event on the 13th, and I added that to both Google Forms as well. I hear someone has their hand raised. Please feel free to take yourself off mute.
They have August the 6th, the Sheriff's Department is hosting a national night out at Nicollet Park. I think that's from 3 to 6. On August the 10th, I'm trying to think of the name of that housing area. Carver Elementary area down there is having a back to school event from 3 to 6.
Okay, now I'll make sure to look that up and see if there's a flyer out there floating around or somewhere to link. That's a great.
The Brown family handles most of that. DJ Brown.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That note's for me. Leave him in there.
Yeah, but I think he goes by DJ Widebody.
He does, you know.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
On August the 10th, St. Mary's Caring is having a back to school event.
Actually, I'm going to move that to its own thing and let it shine.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nat.
Yep, and I didn't get an update on the NAACPs because their meeting was 6:30 today.
Oh, okay.
At the church.
Oh, it
Church
is
of Ascension. So maybe they'll put something out after their meeting.
This note's for me, Nat. I'll check and see.
Right.
And I'll also add the next meeting to our HSMP calendar so that the community knows like it's a recurring meeting. I know they have different themes, but maybe that will be helpful.
Yep, that'll work.
Cool. Thank you, Nat.
You're welcome.
All right. Does anyone else have any updates? I hear a hand raised. Please feel free to take yourself off mute.
Hi, I'm Jean Carter. I'm the social worker and the case manager for the New Beginnings program with the mission and the rest of the mission. But anyway, we have a program for single men and women coming in off the streets. And right now, most of them are working. I'm getting ready to start with doors, but I do have 3 beds available. 1 is for a male and 2 are for females. And they have to be able to, work a program, work with a job coach, get a job, try to learn budgeting, just all the different things that prepare them to go out and live on their own.
Okay.
And I
Awesome.
sort of have been here for the last several meetings, but I'm the only clinical person they have. So everybody else is a volunteer. So kind of been pretty busy this summer.
Absolutely. And I didn't forget, you still made time to attend our period equity meeting when we didn't have a lot of other attendees. So your
Right.
attendance is always appreciated.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm going to clean that up for you too, Jean. I'm going to think my thought out fully, but it's not happening for me right this moment, but I'm going to make it sound really good.
Yeah, it's not a new program. It's an existing program. It's been there for a couple of years.
Yeah, we've been open for 3 years.
Okay.
It's just that for a lot of people think it's a shelter, but it's not. It's similar to a shelter, but it's not a shelter. It's a program. Some people take and complete within 3 months. Others take 2 years. So just depends on their skill level and what they need when they come in. So many come in and they don't have ID, they don't have Social Security card, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
So that takes a couple of months. And then we start the work process or classes or whatever. So, but it's a good program. They're doing it. So thank you guys.
Thank you. I think that I believe one of our co-chairs that works for the MCOs for Medicaid was saying that there's a program where anyone who receives Medicaid is eligible for a cell phone. I've been out of the insurance game for about a while now, so I'm not sure how true that is, but it may be worth looking into for the upcoming year if that will assist them with, rehabilitating.
I have people who have mental health services can get cell phones from Beacon of Hope as long as their provider verifies that they're seeing them. And I just had a gentleman contact me last week through, he had called Outreach Recovery and they referred him to me. And he will get people's state phones and tablets, just as long as they can show their SNAP card or the Medicaid or disability. So I wanted to get that to Barbara too. I had mentioned it, but I haven't had time to send her the information because they will also get phones for the elderly.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for that, Jean. I'm going to reach out to Beacon of Hope and see if they want to be partner spotlight too, because that's awesome that they're doing that.
Right.
And then I'm going to pop a couple trainings in here that are from the Maryland, help me, Taylor, against domestic violence.
Maryland Network Against Domestic Violence. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. They're offering a 5-series training, and they're also going to have a summit coming up. So I just wanted us to have the links because free education and training is great education and training. So that'll be listed there. And they're also going to be doing their Maryland Law Enforcement Conference on Domestic Violence on September 13th in Chesapeake Beach, Maryland. And I'll be hyperlinking the flyer for that as well. All right. Any other partner updates? All righty. Moving right along.
I actually have something.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Barbara.
We had our Commission on Aging meeting on Monday, and I developed we developed a plan ahead because we haven't had continuance really. We had four new members on Monday, and one that was in the room and 2 that were online. If you know anybody that wants to get involved, we could surely use more people involved in the Commission on Aging. We are a advisory board to the St. Mary's County Commissioners, and we address issues in the county that are focused on the aging community, but not necessarily just aging people. So anyway, but the big thing that we did was identify focus areas that we were going to try to continue on from previous years. The biggest things being housing, that we want to look for out of the box thinking for housing solutions, because even if the county government doesn't support low income housing, we still need it. So that's very important to us. Also, legislation that affects senior citizens, transportation needs to be safe. In community and health supports, the reason I bring this up is because one of the things that we want to do is if the health department is actively pursuing things that encourage specialists to come down to this area, we want to jump on board with that and try to write letters, do whatever we can to encourage more specialists to come to this area. One of the things that we have identified as an issue was some of the specialists are up the road, and transportation is a huge, huge issue, especially for people that live further down the peninsula and live outward to get up the road to go see these specialists. Right now, I'm not sure people are aware, but you have to drive all the way to Prince Frederick for an eye appointment. But the reason that I say this is obviously mental health is a huge, huge issue, especially in our elder community, that people that are living alone. And it's been proven that the more interaction they have, the better their life expectancy is. So we want to work on that. Absolutely. But so we've documented this stuff, and we want to jump on board with trying to improve these things. So anything that you guys are doing or think of doing that we can help with, we want to do it as best we can. So if you think of anything that we can support, please let us know so that we can write letters or do whatever we can to encourage. And like I said, we don't want to go under the constructs of what exists today, because we know that that's not working and it's not getting us anywhere. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Barbara. And I know Dr. Brewster mentioned on our planning meeting that we had for the HSMP annual meeting that she is, like you said, very focused on advocating to bringing more providers down here, but in an equitable standpoint. So we will definitely highlight that and appreciate you bringing that up. And I heard some people raise their hands. Let me circle back. Go ahead, Jean.
While we're speaking of the elderly, we talk a lot about the children and the adults and the domestic violence, but I think we also need to focus on the fact that maybe we should think about how we could get some training to the elderly folks, because right now there's so many scams going around, and they're taking advantage of. And I think there's more elder abuse that's probably not reported because maybe they're afraid to report. But the scam situation right now, elderly people think, oh, well, somebody, that's really my bank, they need my social security number, and so on and so forth. So I think if we could include them in this group, it would be good.
Okay. And thank you for that, because our annual meetings theme is exploring wellness and aging through the lifespan. So I very much have been working with the Department of Aging and Sarah and Nicolette to try to figure out how can we bring some of their great programs they've had at the different wellness centers to the annual meeting, so that we can address, the isolation, the you know, what you're talking about, the distrust, all those things.
Right. And it's so many that, you know, further out that don't really get to the centers.
Right.
So I
yeah.
don't know how we could think about maybe getting information out to them, or maybe going to different communities at some point and trying to give them a little education on these type of things, like scamming, elder abuse, the whole taken advantage of. No, it's really getting crazy. They
Yeah.
can scam us halfway, midway, elderly.
Thank you. Nat, you can go ahead. I saw your hand raised as well.
Okay, yeah. For Barbara and Jean on September the 7th, because Kelsey isn't here today, but St. Mary's College is having a volunteer day. So they're looking for organizations to come down and set up a table and sign up so the students and everything that are coming back to school can know where they can volunteer at. So that'd be a good way for y'all to reach out and get some of the support help you might need. And anybody else.
Yeah. And when is the date on that?
It's September the 7th.
September 7th at the college.
Yeah, St. Mary's College.
Okay.
And
thank you so much.
Oh, sorry, Jean. I'll link Kelsey's email in here as well, so you have it.
Okay, I want to piggyback on that.
Okay.
We had a person come from the comptroller's office. She's in White Plains. She serves Southern Maryland, and she talked about the tax scams and stuff. She was a wonderful speaker. She'd be great to have come speak if somebody has a place where they want somebody to come in and speak about some of this stuff. She also talks about, she was talking about them not only charging taxes, but the fact that they do all these other things. And one of the other things was the unclaimed property money that they do too. But she was a great speaker. So if you have a group of people that want to have somebody come in and talk, she was wonderful. She was amazing with the information that she shared and had flyers and stuff. So
awesome, Barbara. I'll get that contact info from you as well.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Any other updates? That was a great session, guys. All right. Let me pop that in there, because I know I can't see it that small otherwise. So, all right. We're going to jump into VIT action bags. So I'll start this, and then Taylor, if you want to take over on the second slide, or do you want to do it in reverse? I don't remember what we talked about.
You can start and I'll do the second one. That's fine.
Sounds good. All right. So Taylor had brought up the idea of kind of doing the Fear to Freedom bags for trauma assault victims. And then our BHAP team also brought up, okay, what about people experiencing homelessness? And our team members in VIT had the same view. So we'll be doing 2 sets of bags, one for sexual assault victims and trauma victims, and one for people experiencing homelessness. HSMP was able to include in our fiscal spending to, finish it up in July, universal phone chargers that the group discussed. I think we got 1,000 of those. So we'll have 500 for each bag. Michelle and the VIT team already have those on hand, but we also ordered some cool reusable hand warmers, DEET-free insect repellent, and some chapstick and sunscreen combos for them. So additional items that we discussed that we don't have yet would be some type of like gender neutral hygiene products, whether that's wipes, some type of spray, bottles of water. And then our new HSMP coordinator, Lauren, brought up the idea of maybe if we can find someone to donate long socks, we can stuff those with the small items, and then they have a pair of warm socks as well. Any thoughts on that?
That's a good idea. I mean, I'm sure that especially as the weather gets cooler, socks would be good.
Okay. And we'll see and look out there and see what's going on. Maybe there's some type of program. I know the Health Hub has socks for kids that shower there. So
Nico, it's a sock manufacturer that allows you, if you buy a pair of socks, they'll donate a pair of socks. Let me see if I can find out what their name was, because maybe what we do in the lodge is we have people just go online and you know, buy a
It's
pair
Bamba.
and have it shipped to, you know, directly to the lodge.
okay.
Okay, and that
Company's
might be
name is
something we can
Bamba.
just. Which one it is?
Bamba.
That's who-
BOOMBA, I think.
Yeah.
You said BOO?
Maybe not. Maybe just one
That's
O.
fine.
Bamba.
I think that is who the Health Hub uses actually for theirs. So I can touch base with Chris Shea, who's our BHAT co-chair, and ask him what he knows about that. He also runs the Health Hub, so that will be helpful. He will know.
Okay, that'll work.
Thanks, Nat. Go ahead, Jean.
I think for the past 2 or 3 years, Deputy Sergeant now Tim Snyder has been getting thousands of those socks, and he gives 2 or 3 boxes to the mission. He probably gives them to the Health Hub and all of these other agencies. I think last year we got like 2 or 3,000 pairs of socks.
And you
And
said
that
that
is the company he got them from, and he was distributing them to all of these agencies.
and what I got Tim and then my brain erased it. I'm sorry, Jean. Can you repeat his name?
Oh, I call him Timmy. He's my bonus son.
Oh,
Sergeant Timothy Snyder.
all right. When I email him or our sheriff's office contact, I'll be sure to tell him that Jean sent me.
Mama Jean.
Hey, I got it.
No, but I that's probably where the hub got him, because last year he had, I honestly believe he told me they sent him like 10,000, and it was different sizes and even kids. So he probably gave them to the hub and essentially all of us. Let me just put it that way. So if it's anybody in need, I think that's the guy to contact.
Perfect. I'm just going to put that there in case our coordinator who has questions, since she said long socks, I'll say, we're going to look at all the socks and just provide them so they're warm. All right. Does anyone have any other questions or comments for this section before we jump into how we're going to distribute them and planning to stuff the bags? No? All right. We're going to move right along into our filling size. Go ahead.
Okay, so as far as our bags are concerned, we still need to figure out locations and dates. As far as the bags for victims of sexual assault are concerned, I think once we have a location, then we can really nail down the date, because we're going to have to look at availability, of course. I will say we had the Family Violence Coordinating Council last night. And there was interest expressed about having something also on the northern end of the county. We didn't get to do that last year just because, or for Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we didn't get to do anything in the northern end of the county. Just because the library had AC issues, and then the Barnes at Newmarket were doing renovations, so we just didn't have a location. So I think that's something to think about. Even if it's not necessarily the bag event that we do 2 of, just we got to keep the northern end of the county in mind. So just something to keep on the radar. I know we don't have a full meeting tonight, so we should probably try to get more input, but The benefit of having it at the college is you kind of have a built-in attendance. The students come. That being said, it's kind of way down on the southern end of the county, and it's a little bit harder for other people to get to. The libraries are
Sorry.
more central, but you know, there's no guarantee people are going to come. People are going to come, but you don't have the built-in audience that you have at the college. So I really just wanted to, sooner rather than later, choose where we want to do that event. And then for the bags for the unhoused, that would be a whole separate event. And we would need those assembled because they're going to be given out at the Community Assistance Day, September 13th. So we will need to get them assembled by then. They would be going to local EMS, the sheriff's department, and churches who host the WARM program. And we were thinking about having the item collection at the health department in Leonardtown. It looks like there's a. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I missed this initially. So what type of items are you looking to put in the bag?
Which are you talking about, the bags for victims of sexual assault or the bags for unhoused people?
Both.
So we mostly have the stuff for the victims of sexual assault bags. We have the bags themselves, a blanket, a shirt, pants, the reusable phone charger, which is a big thing that we have people need a lot. But for the unhoused bags, like Aniko said earlier, we still need like hygiene wipes. Aniko, did you want to list some of the stuff we still need for the unhoused bags?
Yep. So the wipes and tissues, like if I know Tammy mentioned dude wipes, but anything really that anyone feels comfortable using, bottles of water, blankets, lotion, and any type of like waterproof storage bags so that we can give them that autonomy in storing their items in their encampments.
Okay.
So even big gallon bags.
We have I think we have boxes and boxes of like hygiene products and shampoos and things like that. So I'll go through them.
Awesome. Thank you.
Probably
Jean.
go ahead and put them in the bags for you. I'll get on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's awesome. And I'll follow up with you via email as well. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
So in terms of scheduling, do we think that the Homeless Prevention Board's event is the deadline we should shoot for? Or do we just think we want to have them before it gets cold? What does the group think thus far?
I think that it makes a lot of sense to have it at the Community Assistance Day to kind of show like something that's being done, you know?
I agree.
If possible.
I agree. That's why I went with the name action bags, because we talk about helping people a lot, but these are physical things and physical actions that we can do with people. So I think that's makes it different, you know?
The majority come out and go to that event.
Okay, good.
Reasons. So I think that would be a good place.
Okay. So what do we think, since the rest of the group isn't here, when I send out these meeting minutes by Monday or Tuesday, what do we think if I put like an action item? I don't want to keep, doing Google Forms, but I don't know how else to get everyone's availability in a voting situation without them being here to do a poll, if that makes sense. What do you think about that? Should we all just pick a date, or should we wait for them and send a form?
I think a Google Form's a good idea, just because we have such a small section of everybody who could give input right now.
Agreed. Yeah. All right, cool. I'll delete this before I send the minutes, guys. Don't worry. Okay, awesome. And I also provided the updated Google form, just so I'm trying to, as we do partner updates, also include them on our forms so that then I can print them out and go, Suha, these are things that are going on, or people trying to get comp time that we have that work on, you know, a contractual basis, and involvement, because as much as I would love to attend every outreach, and you all know outreach is my jam, I just can't do it with a 10-year-old. So community members and you all attending are always welcome to attend on behalf of HSMP if should you ever want. So just a little shameless plug there. Does anyone else have anything to add to this slide? Nope. All righty. So rounding out the meeting, our last 10 minutes, we had Adania Day, who is our communications intern, help us with our summer safety toolkit for social media. I'm going to post the Canva link for the campaign there, but I'm also going to show you our website that is live. So this is our website we worked on for the toolkit, which I love. Adina did a great job. We have the graphics that are ready to use here in Canva. And she even did a prompt for people who may be unfamiliar, like, what should I use this hashtag for? Like, when do I use it, with examples? So she really went above and beyond. And we have seen some photos with Safe Summer SOMD, so I'll be compiling those. And it's also great because it's something she designed without a year. So it's an initiative we can continue to build on, and new emerging issues, like when we have new media for the cannabis things, we can add that on here. You know, don't smoke and boat, whatever that may be. And we also have the instructions on how to download it. And I'm going to jump over, perhaps, maybe, possibly. Oh, nope. Sorry, guys. Canva's saying no to me. I don't know what's happening. Just one of those days. Okay. Here we are, folks. And this is a sample breakdown of the toolkit itself. The posting schedule is suggested, but she wanted to make it so somebody coming in who's never done public health, you know, or has a high turnover, or is just getting started in social media content, has a good gauge of what to do and what to use it for. Each image is hyperlinked as well with our resources. And in this one, we also have our water safety graphic that the VI team worked on. We will be posting this one on the agency website because it's Bike Week, I believe, coming up. I put it on the calendar for whenever it was, but that's a big thing down here. So just to remind them, share the road. And we've also been sharing the toolkit on the More to Explore page, and because it has been so hot, to encourage people, you know, while you're out looking and exploring, also be mindful that you could be getting dehydrated without realizing it. So it has been a great resource thus far, and we're enjoying using it, and so is the agency. Any thoughts or comments on that? I know she's not here, but I'm going to do this anyway.
Yeah, definitely seconding that.
These are linked in the minutes as well, but we have some links for some new legislation regarding impaired driving, no matter what it is that you're driving, frankly. So we'll also be looking for updates and including the cannabis related ones. And the other initiatives we'll continue to support include the safety seat checks. And our agency has done KISS training for the inspection portion, but they just haven't highlighted that for the public yet. So it's an exclusive for our members. We also are highlighting the youth mentoring exchange that launched, just because there are so many great partners on this call, and you all have a lot of great partners in day-to-day life. So we would love to connect people who just want to get out and help. And we also have the event from Greg Roos and the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention for the Out of the Darkness Walk for Southern Maryland. They're still open for volunteers and vendors. If people are looking to participate, you can send me an email or contact Greg Roos if you are familiar with him and have his contact info. Any questions for this slide as we finish up? All right, folks. Thank you so much for attending. We Lauren, our new coordinator, did our communication slide for us and redid it because we realized none of the buttons work and we would need them to work if you'd like to contact us. So we updated with the HSMP submission form. You can always just send me a training article, anything via email or text me. But if you'd like to go about it something far in advance and submit it, we have it here and the subscribe for the newsletter link. And we also have our next meeting in August. It'll be right after back to school, so we'll make sure to have everything coordinated, and the Google form results will be posted and coordinated as well. And we have our HSMP annual meeting on the 26th of September. Vendor registration is open until August 16th, and then our vendors will receive a confirmation email via, I'm just about to say via email. Sorry, y'all, you can tell it's getting late. A confirmation email on September 6th. And if you are interested or know anyone interested in participating in the youth mentoring panel with Taylor and Michelle, and I believe Tony from the YMCA is also going to be having one of their teammates join us, please let us know. I appreciate you all for your time and attendance and for always keeping me up to date and excited about what I'm doing. And thank you again, Annie, for attending. We look forward to seeing you all next time. I hope you all enjoy your evening.
Thank you, Nico. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.